Welcome to Ben, Snap, and Chat, the podcast where we talk about what happens when life doesn't go according to plan.
I'm Cristie.
And I'm Drake.
And around here, we believe that even when life bends us, it doesn't mean we're broken.
Let's get into it. Well, here we are, Cristie, yet again, episode 14. Did you ever think we'd get this far?
I honestly can't say that I did. I will be honest.
Really?
I'm so proud of us.
You didn't think we'd get to 14?
I didn't know if we were going to get through like the tech difficulties, it's been a lot. Like we've done a lot in these 14 weeks.
We have. Yeah.
So
your video looks really good. See, your lighting is better than mine. I haven't put any effort in this because I've got this big surprise project I'm working on that I can't talk about, that you know about.
I know.
But we can't talk about this right now.
Know.
I don't want to jinx it. I don't want to jinx it until I get on the... Never mind. Yeah. So, but anyway, it's in the works. It's been really busy lately.
I'm so excited for you. I know we're not talking about specifics, but just watching you I feel like I'm watching you live this dream in real time. And I can't wait until we're at the point where we can share with people, because this law of attraction.
When this thing first happens, I think it'll be so inspirational, I think, for a lot of people. For me to be able to do this at like 56 years old.
Yeah.
Right? And go and do this brand new thing.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be a lot of people that'll probably be very, very interested in the story. So I think we'll probably podcast about it eventually.
For sure.
And I was thinking about starting a YouTube channel to chart the journey.
I think that would be amazing.
Or shall I say, navigate the journey.
I love that so much. And I've kind of also been on the other side, like keeping notes of what's been happening and how it's been happening. And
so it's interesting. This whole thing's interesting.
It really is. People are going to be like, what is he talking about? We're creating some buzz.
Yeah. So you're in a new room. You sound a little bit different.
Is it a good different?
Yeah, it's good.
Okay.
It's really good.
We kind of, I know we're not sharing the video yet, but we're just testing this audio in the new space. So I got a bunch of sound absorbing things, because at first it wasn't really, it was too, what was the word? Like tinny or something.
There was a big reverberation in that room.
Yes.
Especially when sound bounces off
and
sheetrock walls and we didn't want that, but it sounds really good. And, last week's episode, I've tuned up a little bit myself as I learn as I'm going.
I think we both have. Last episode, we had our little bitch fest.
We had bitch fest, and that was a good one.
We did have fun, and I have to say, the day after, because I was a little bit bitchy that day, obviously, and then the next day I went to the neurologist, and he honestly, when we give shout outs to like the good doctors out there, he just honestly was shocked with some of the behavior of the other specialists, and
negated
really
some of that.
Yes, and so he kind of, he kind of gave me some hope.
And it was really good. And you're looking better. People can't see how you look, but you do look better. Yeah.
I honestly, the last few days, my blood pressure seems to be regulating a little bit. Like the norepinephrine levels are probably still high, but I don't know if it's the iron infusion that I had done recently.
I think it's the iron, because your color is not. You don't look like you belong in Vance Castle, if you know what I mean. Right.
I was pretty white.
You were looking pretty white there. I mean, it
pretty translucent.
Pasty was the word. You were so pale.
Yeah.
And so I'm glad that things are coming back, and we made it through EDS month just to get to Pride Month.
Yay!
So here we are. We're going to have a chat about Pride Month.
Yeah. And it's a really interesting topic, especially... Now, here's the thing. A lot of these EDS groups, whenever this comes up between the correlation of EDS and LGBTQ plus community, people kind of get up in an uproar like, oh, we're saying that you're gay. No, we're not. But there is some really interesting research that is showing a correlation between first sexual, not necessarily sexual orientation, more in terms of like transgender and gender affirmation,
Yep.
as well as EDS and
Along with, so there's crossover.
neurodivergence.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things I just want to read, because I found it like really interesting,
Okay.
is so there's a retrospective study published in 2025 found that transgender and gender diverse individuals had about 18.5% higher odds of being diagnosed with HEDS or
Mhm.
HSD compared
Mhm.
with cisgender individuals. Like,
That's
isn't
that's
that's a
interesting, yeah.
pretty big
And I
percentage?
don't know, what's really weird is, like, in the men's group, there's a couple hundred people on Facebook, and
Yeah.
I think I might be the only gay guy in there.
It
It seems like that. I
it
mean,
seems like it,
yeah,
but
so,
it's
I mean,
hard to
there's
tell sometimes. Like,
I'm
you're
the
very
only
out and
yeah. Yeah, yeah. So, I'm wondering, if it's how many gay men are affected by this. I don't know. Like, I'd be just curious to see. There's definitely a lot of crossover when it comes to the gender dysphorias and,
yes.
transgenderism um, and EDS and hypermobility. I know that for sure. I'm seeing it.
It's I mean, they haven't been doing the specific research to, like, know the exact data information, all of this, but just the anecdotal stories and even just that study, like, that's really interesting that there is this correlation,
Yeah.
whether it's between, because we've also seen, like, a higher number of, like, neurodivergence, ADHD, autism when it comes to EDS, and it seems like there's this the 3 of them play a role in this.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
very interesting to
It
me.
is. It's gotta be some type of genetic thing for sure.
Genetic, and they are talking a bit about, like, the neurodivergence, like, how the brain
Processes.
functions and
Yeah. Yeah,
processes.
which it probably causes some of um, the ways we deviate away from, what would be called heterosexual kind of, strong sense of gender identity. There's so many different colors of all these things. It's hard to name what they are.
Exactly.
I don't ever I have problems with tags. So I have used the word gay, and that's how I describe myself if somebody
Yeah.
would just ask me about my who I am as a sexual person.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I guess I've been bisexual throughout my life and gay. So there's a mix in there. So I'm kind of like of both minds when it comes that way. I've been with women
Yeah. You were
and
married to a
yeah, for
woman.
years. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, we never had any kids or anything that didn't want any, and that's a question that everybody asks. And then the next question that most people ask, oh, did you cheat on her? I'm like, no, I didn't. Um,
That's sad that that's the first place that people's mind go.
well, unfortunately in our generation, there was a lot of that. And there's a reason why
It's
people's minds go there. So there was a lot of men, and there still is a lot of men that do these things.
yeah.
I don't ever pass judgment on people because I really don't understand everybody's sexual or interpersonal relationships. And that's why I think where pride gets complicated, because I think that's what people start to do. Pride on one side is a celebration of a protest that put us ahead or put us up where everybody else was in society for years and years and years. Like, oh, the straight pride. I'm like, yeah, straight pride,
Uh,
335 days of the rest of the year. Thanks very
right.
much. We got to watch it on TV and we got to watch it in movies and all this stuff. I mean, it's very seldom, although a little bit more, we're starting to see gay characters or, gender diverse characters in
Yeah.
movies, which is great. So there's that side of things, but on the other side of things, then you get all these fucking crazy people. It started already on Facebook. I haven't been on media much because I've been really busy planning this stuff. So
Yeah.
I have been avoiding media because media has a tendency to affect my creativity.
For
And
sure.
at this given time, I can't have that happen. So I just
No.
kind of post and I leave. But I think that it agitates all of the toothless ones, if you know what I
Mm.
mean, like,
Yeah.
and all of the men that are home with a wife that are either at Home Depot doing something in a bathroom or going behind it brings all the closet cases out
Yeah.
because it's very difficult for these really bitter, like, people to see people like me who are so out there and just kind of, I really don't care what
Yeah.
people think. So I'm authentically myself. Pride for me is a conundrum.
We were talking a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I have really mixed feelings about pride. I love pride in the sense that we all we all should celebrate within our own way, the way we want to.
Yeah.
I think that's a really good thing to do for a full month, is for people to express themselves and be themselves. But I also think it's very important that there's people like me around, that and other artists and things that really stick their necks out all the time.
Yeah.
And I did this for 15 years in the media. I did Pride 365 days of the year.
Yeah.
I did it in radio stations when I told everybody I was gay. I did it on TV in Nashville, Tennessee, and I did it at the Hard Rock Cafe. And I've done it
Yeah.
for a long time. And I did it long before anybody else that's around right now did it,
Yeah.
especially with music.
You kind of paved the road for a lot
Well,
of other artists.
listen, I did my thing.
Yeah.
And if that was, what some people might have seen me and got inspired by that, well, that's what we're all supposed to be doing.
Yes.
However, I do think that pride sometimes can be non-inclusive to certain demographics of the community. And I really don't want to get into all and hashing out all this stuff about the problems, which are many, that we
Yeah.
have in our own community, because every community has problems.
They do.
Everybody does. So, and now we've got like the LGB people want to separate from, I don't know. Let me get this straight. I don't mean to be so or not. The LGB people want to separate from the TQIS
Oh,
because, yeah. And I've seen like a whole bunch of posts about it. And
okay.
the way I look at it is you can't force anybody to identify with other people if they don't want to.
No.
And if they feel more comfortable in driving this car instead of that one, then let them drive their car and you drive yours. And we'll all be exemplary of our communities, whatever that community may be.
For sure.
That's my opinion about this. The people who want to join, like, it's kind of like me saying to everybody, well, you have to like my music. You have to be part of my
Put
tribe.
like a
You have to like
blank.
my music.
Yeah.
And, I don't, like I said, I don't judge anybody else. I don't care who you sleep with. I don't care what you wear. I don't care what sex you are. I don't care what gender you are. It doesn't matter to me if you're dysphoric or if you want to be four different it doesn't matter to me. I don't care. It's not affecting my life. I know who I am. I'm kind of like a weird gay guy on the spectrum somewhere, past bisexuality, because I've been living with a man for the past 19 years.
Yeah.
So, I have a very good relationship with my husband. And I think that as a public figure, I think I've probably, I'll pat myself on the back and say I've done a great job of being an exemplary person that has been out there with pride every day for the past 15 years in whenever I can. This year I have how I celebrate pride this year is I have a documentary coming out this year on one of the bigger gay channels and possibly on the LGBTQ film circuit about my life and me being part of the pioneering of country music for LGBTQ people.
I love that so much. I
Really
can't
nice.
wait to watch it.
Super nice that it got recognized because it's been, we're talking about pride today and about the community and things like that. And, we gay people have, whether the rest of anybody else wants to acknowledge what we have contributed to society over the years, and we have been for hundreds of years.
Yeah.
Homosexuality just didn't pop up in 1979 or 1980 at Stonewall.
No.
I mean, we've been around for years and years, and it's part of a natural process of evolution that some sexes are just attracted to each other. And, and some people are dysphoric and some people have genetic issues like we talked about before that make them neurodivergent and can affect their sense of identity and gender and all of these things. We know this.
Yes.
If people can be born with their heads fucking well like
Right.
fused together and they can't separate them. We know that there's got to be things that'll go on like biologically in the genes. So I mean, why do people have to complicate everything? And why can't people just mind your own fucking business and like move on? I just really don't get it.
Do you think the
Um,
issue is more about labels, or is it like this old school versus newer school kind of
this
thought process?
I'm going to start to rant. So when I
Ugh.
start on this stuff, I kind of feel like Grandpa Simpson, and he's standing at the window, ah, and he's shaking his fist at the
Yeah,
cloud.
yeah, yeah.
You know, that's kind of how I feel. Um, I don't know. Labels. Let's go on labels. I think we're all. I think the community in general can be hung up on labels. I think that we get so hung up on labels, we forget how to move forward. That's my opinion about this. I got in an argument with a transgendered male to female musician,
Okay.
and this person was, she said, well, I just did a support comment to her about something. I was like, oh, the music industry is tough. And
Yeah.
she's a musician.
Okay.
And anyway, she came back and she said, what would you know as a cisgendered male? I'm like, oh, fuck, here we go. So, you know me, if someone challenges me about
Yeah.
like stuff like that, well, first of all, yes, I, I don't like the fact that sometimes the trans community are using this cis thing is slangy to me. And I snapped back at her and I said, I don't like labels. I said, you know how you don't want to be called a man anymore? I said,
Yeah.
I don't like labels. I said, so I have a name and that's Drake. The last name is Jensen. Use it. I said, and respect, I said, goes a long way because I don't think she figured out who the fuck she was talking to.
Well,
Like,
because just looking at someone, you can't tell what their sexual orientation is.
no.
And
And,
to make an
she said
assumption.
to me, you wouldn't understand me having a hard time in the music industry. That's what she
Really?
said. That's what she said to me. And
But so she obviously didn't know anything about your history when she's
no, just
making these
dumbed
comments.
out. Yeah.
Yeah, she just looks at you and sees a white man,
Right. Yeah.
which
And she's probably mad at men in general. So she decided to take it out on me. So there's an awful lot of that. And that I've experienced like firsthand for years. For years. And
yeah,
I get, oh, you're just old and white and cis. What would you know? I mean, like, seriously, people, go look at my Wikipedia and go look at what I've done over the years. I know a lot.
yeah.
Pardon you. But so anyway, I find that difficult sometimes. And like I say, at the same time, I mean, I don't care about any of this. I don't care what you've decided to do. I don't care. Like if you want to go have surgery or you want to call yourself a different name, I did that myself. So I don't have a problem with that. The persona that I have in public and on stage is a drag persona. It's like
Yeah.
it's a very colored, very animated part of me. And I'm much the same. So I understand all this shit just because I've got I'm not gonna say that, it'd be so crass. Um, just because I'm
We're
a
filtering
dude.
ourselves.
Yeah, just because I'm a dude, I mean,
Yeah.
I just feel like and I'm older, I feel like
Yeah.
I get ostracized from the community sometimes for that. And I don't want this pride episode to be like, oh God, Drake is all he's doing is complaining, but like I do have some pride trauma.
I mean, I don't know how much you wanna get into it, but you've shared some things with me that were really unfortunate that you had to go through and caused this trauma when it
Yeah,
comes to a and I don't know, when you think for me as, like, heterosexual, cisgender, whatever, I don't
yeah,
know, woman,
yeah,
like, I'm learning a lot about you and about this community that for me, the only, like, the biggest thing for me that I really resonated with for, like, a long time has been drag,
yeah.
and that's been my kind of I don't even know how to say it, like, my kinda
Well,
understanding
yeah,
and
that's how straight people relate to that's how straight people are relating to the community. However, and I don't have any issue with that.
Yeah.
But when it's the only way they're relating to the community, because that's the only people that are exposed. So here we
Y
go again. Okay. So RuPaul's Drag Race got hot and ended up on VH1 and all this stuff. And suddenly a lot of things that were just ours and in our very exclusive community became mainstream.
I've heard a couple gay men
Yeah.
with the
But
same sentiment of that
so
as, like,
straight,
our spaces are no longer.
oh, yeah, there's a whole other issue there. But,
Yeah.
some don't wish for what you want. You just might get it. Right.
Yeah.
But the whole thing with, I have no problem with, I love drag. You know me.
Yes.
So I've done drag before, by the way. It wasn't pretty. It's not good. I mean,
What was
not
your drag name again?
on a mission.
What
Yeah.
I love
So
it.
I don't have any of these weird hangups about like just because you put pantyhose on, it doesn't make you a man or something like that. I don't have any of
Yeah.
the preconception about that stuff. So I've done drag and all that stuff, and I loved it and it was
Yeah.
fun. It's an awful lot of work.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot
It's
more work
art,
than
though, like, it's
getting.
art, it's
Oh, it
not.
is, and
Yeah.
it's like it's a lot more work than getting in cowboy drag and going. Well, and singing is a lot of work, but
Yeah.
it's a lot. It's hard to do in this corsets and high heels and stuff like
Yeah.
that. I do not like.
Exactly. The big wigs and the
Yeah, it's
makeup.
probably why I never continued.
Okay.
But at the same time, I feel like media, and I'm talking about mainstream media, don't want
Yeah.
to really feature any other type of art from the LGBTQ community, like songwriting or music or anything like that, other than, Elton John, who was, and other things that were, weren't talked about. It wasn't
Yeah.
talked about that he was gay, and when he became really, really mainstream
Yeah.
famous. But I have a grudge against mainstream media because there's nothing else. There's no other places for gay artists to really express themselves other than gay spaces, and gay spaces are limited.
Yeah.
And then you get somebody like me who does like crossover kind of country rock pop stuff, and the spaces even become more limited,
Yeah.
right? Because there's very few people that are at the top of this LGBTQ game in the entertainment industry. And
Yeah.
you have to go to LA and you have to play the game and you have to work like a dog. And, it's a young person's game. But what I'm saying is there needs to be more room for the
For
other,
the entire
for the
community.
whole arts community, because there's not enough of the music standing out with the drag. And
Yeah.
I'd like to see more of that, like more professional musicians that are highlighted, and there's a TV show to highlight them and give them an opportunity. And I think, or an LGBTQ music festival and or festivals on cruise ships and things that have been happening
Yeah.
lately and all of these things. We need this. So I think there's holes to fill when it comes to exposing the world to what we have to offer as a community.
For sure. One of the things that we were kinda talking about a bit is, and I kind of feel this as a person with disabilities as well, is this idea of aging. And I think that's maybe another big topic that.
Eek.
Yeah, because when I think about my body, and there's definitely a lot of dysmorphia when it's
Oh,
come
we
to,
all
like, the
have this.
surgeries
Yeah,
and,
of course.
my body not functioning the way other people's bodies function.
Yeah.
Do you think that, like, a lot of those people that, you mentioned that pride in its root, it was a protest, and a lot of those old school, like, the elders, so to say, that.
We are the
Yeah,
elders.
that really, like, paved the way for, even though there's still a lot of room for more,
Mhm.
but compared to what it was, the visibility has definitely grown, not enough. But I do you notice from your perspective, like, what is a bigger concern? Aging with, like, the body that you have, or aging in this community? Like, we're both I'm not part of that community. So, like, from
Mhm.
someone as just as an outsider, like, is that something that is big for you?
You mean like my parameters as far as when I'm going to bust out the Botox. Is that what you're saying?
I mean, yeah, it could be.
Well, as an entertainer, it's not going to have anything to do with the gay community. I don't care. Um,
Okay.
I I don't know. So I have this big thing about loving myself lately.
Yeah.
So I have parameters for myself. So I have standards.
Yep.
And so now I have to uphold the standards for myself.
Yes.
So when you love yourself a lot and you start loving on yourself and loving on yourself and having confidence in the things that you do and the talents you have, you start to care less about that stuff.
I hear you. Yeah.
And you start to get like, I don't know, you know how Joni Mitchell is?
Yes.
You get like her. I feel like I'm getting like her in a weird way, where she's just
Okay.
unapologetically herself and doesn't care. I don't think she's ever had, like, Joni Mitchell's never had any Botox or anything like that. I mean, I'm not saying that having Botox or having a facelift is
No.
bad or anything like that. There's an immense amount of ageism in, like, the entertainment industry, number
Yes,
one,
that's
as we've seen
true.
Madonna just getting slammed online. It's just,
Oh,
can't people just give it up? You either like it or
right?
you don't. And if you don't like it, then fuck
Just
off. And
keep
then if you do, and
scrolling.
then if you do like it, then just make a nice comment. I mean, she's brilliant, and she's,
She's an
whether you
icon.
like her or not. I mean,
She's an icon.
I have my choice.
Exactly.
Madonna's done so much shit that if you can't find something,
Right?
well, over the past 30 years that she's done that you like, you're something wrong with you.
Yeah.
She's just been a good entertainer, like a really great entertainer and a very, very powerful woman. And I don't like the fact that they're shitting on her for, like, her age. And I thought what she had on was fine. I don't know. This is
I think
even
she looked
the gay guys were criticizing it.
no.
Yes. Yes. I wanted to see, because I knew we were going to talk about stuff like this.
Yeah.
And I asked on my Facebook page, and some people thought it was just completely inappropriate and that she should be in, like, a 2-piece suit or something like that again, like she was in Express Yourself. I don't know. Like, I don't understand. Like, I
But
don't
she's
get it.
an artist, an iconic artist
Yeah.
that has stood the test of time, like generations of
Yeah.
people.
It doesn't even matter about that. She still looked good. I thought
She
she
looked
looked
phenomenal.
like I thought so anyway. Anyway, and it was great. And yeah, she's 70 some years old, but what have you done in your life? It's like, don't criticize, like, just move on to something you like. But so the community can be super, super, like, even if I change my beard, like, I don't know, I might color my beard again, eh?
You were kinda saying that.
Oh,
That
I'm
would
getting,
and
oh,
maybe, like, trim it a little bit.
well,
We're
for
not too sure.
what's going on, if you know what I mean, I
Yeah.
might have to. Um, but if even people say something to me about that, I was like, "Oh, I like your beard when it was long." It's like, "Oh God, don't color your beard." I'm like, everybody's got an opinion.
Everybody has an opinion, and I
So
think it's a lot of projection
yeah, and then the age
because
thing, a lot of
the
gay guys are hyper sensitive to, I think, aging, and I think part of the toxin for us as gay men as we age is we become bitter against ourselves because of the aging process.
I
And
mean, this it's similar for women.
I'm kind of
Women are told, like, we're not supposed to age.
and I've seen pictures of people putting pictures up and saying, "Oh, I've gotten so old," and it's like, well, you really haven't looked after yourself. Like, I mean, this is the big thing. I mean, I'm in the middle of, I had the shitstorm health crisis that changed
Yeah,
everything,
yeah,
and then I had to change my life, and I had to do things that I didn't like, and I had to stop eating things that I liked, and I had to
yep,
change my life. I had to become obsessed with exercise and lose the fat and try to get healthy again. And it's been a real process, but in the in the process of that, I have gotten younger looking.
you have.
Yeah, like, my skin is good because the inflammation is not there anymore, and
Yeah,
I feel much better. So there's so many things we could do, I think, instead of sitting around and worrying about it. And you're right about
yes,
this. Many gay men are aging in the community. There's this, if you're not 30 and you're not 30 and below, you're not
you're
relevant.
not
And there is
relevant.
an air of that in
Yeah,
certain places in the community, in areas. And I'm sure in LA, I've been in LA, and LA is very superficial. And I'm glad I visited
yeah,
and came home.
but you wouldn't
S
live there.
Not really.
No.
No, probably. might be having to visit LA multiple times actually
Mm,
if this stuff comes through. So we're hoping to go back to LA again. What I'm
yes.
saying is I don't like the superficiality of LA.
It's the
So,
same with like I was saying, from my perspective as an aging woman,
well, that's a
I
whole other thing. Women and
that's
oh
a whole
God.
other thing, but
Yeah.
that's how I can relate
Mhm.
to and for me, when it comes to being disabled and an aging woman, I
Mm.
think the thing that's more important to me is how I feel,
Yes.
not necessarily how others think I look,
Right.
because what I've learned is that people are gonna project their own insecurities
Yeah.
onto others, and so if people don't like me, if people don't like the way I look, I mean, it literally has no impact on me.
Can I gotta say, I have to be honest. If somebody was to ask me if I was obsessed with how I look, I would have to say yes. I mean, I have to be honest about this. And I always said, we started this, I'm going to be honest about whatever we
Yeah,
talk about here. This is difficult because my ego is one of those things. And we talk about ego and the gay man ego,
yeah,
my gay man ego. I'm not going to talk about anybody else's
yeah,
in case, people could take offense.
yeah.
My gay man ego says to me that sometimes I'm the greatest, but at the other time, sometimes it says, "Oh, you're old and you're getting this and you're doing that and blah 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 blah." And it's really hard to temper because I'm an artist, and artists
Yeah,
are my version of art. An artist is we're a little bit fucking kooky, so
yeah,
a little crazy. Now I'm not the craziest one out there for sure, but I do suffer from all of the things that most artists talk about, and that's sense of image, imposter syndrome. And these
yeah,
things are also things that correlate closely to many people. And I'm not just going to say the gay men in the community, but many people in the gay community, because when you're treated badly by society
yes.
and you've been rejected by people and things like that, this adds to that.
It definitely does, for
Because
sure.
normal people have to, that go out in the world have confidence problems and they have mental issues and stuff like that. But if you add sometimes the complication of how other people, and I'm not talking about how us as a community view ourselves, how
Yeah,
the outside straight, and I'll put it in quotes, community
yeah,
view us, that causes a lot of the problems that happen within our community, even with each other.
I can see that, 'cause I can see that from my perspective as a woman and
Right.
how society
It's the same thing.
it's the same thing, it
Yeah.
really
We
is.
all have a different way to tell the story of oppression, but we're all
Yes,
oppressed. So,
100%.
yeah.
And then the
So,
patriarchy
yeah. So I,
just
right.
adds to that.
So
Yeah,
yeah, I'm looks obsessed sometimes. And I do toil over how I look in photographs. And if I go to do a video, and it's been interesting, the last video I did, I hadn't done a video for a couple of years and I'd aged
yeah,
and I had to see it. So the one thing about aging as an artist is that if you're making visual art and you're part of that visual art, then you start to become the subject of watching yourself. you know Now I have this interesting revelation, and this is the good part of my ego working for me.
okay,
I went back and I looked at a photograph myself like years ago when Michael and I first got together.
okay.
If somebody said to me, you can go back to looking like that, and then you have to go through all those years again to get to where you're at today,
Yeah.
I would totally decline that.
That's growth.
I would
But
decline
so
that.
what is it? Why would you decline it?
I think I look better now.
See, that's amazing. I
Yeah.
think, like, the
Because
amount
you know why? Because I'm accepting what's inside of me.
yes, and this is why I say, like, if someone doesn't like the way I look, I don't really give a shit because
Oh,
I am confident in who I am as a person,
yeah. Right.
and
And I'm
that
kind of,
wisdom
yeah.
that, like, I had to fight my way to this life, and
Mm,
so I'm gonna love myself in my ups and my downs
yes. And
because
in
I've
the,
had to.
right. And in the fight,
Yeah.
I'm really tired of fighting. Okay.
Yeah. It's
So
exhausting.
I'm much more interested in finding things and people that I can coexist with.
That uplift each other.
Right. And that's what I've been kind of doing. And through the process of
Yeah.
what's been happening lately, as you know, and the story will come out eventually once
Yeah.
it all comes to fruition. Um, but it's been a real journey in getting to that place where you start to reject anything that sucks your energy.
Yeah.
And
And that comes with age. That
but
comes with wisdom.
when I say that, I'm not just talking about other people. I'm being very objective, and I'm also talking about myself and
Yes.
how I drain my own energy.
That's a huge thing to be consciously aware of.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah. Like I'm very aware of my own self-destructive, like the gay boy from the other side of the tracks in Cape Breton, Nova Scotia's mentality when people beat the fuck out of me and my
Yeah.
own father was rageous and my parents were fighting all the time and school became like really treacherous and home became treacherous. I mean, I
Yeah.
have the makings of like it was the makings of an addict, and instead of being an addict, I became dissociative,
Yeah.
which is part of being on this neurodivergent thing and having there's a big thing between HEDS and dissociation too, by the way.
I
Yeah,
I've
there's so
I've
it
definitely
all
experienced it to be able to get through, especially with the surgeries.
yeah,
I had to really to get through that, a big part of it was dissociation
right. So
because it's so much
yeah,
to
and then
process.
if you start divulging in this dissociation a lot, you start losing your sense of self.
Yes.
So it took me many years. I mean, I talked about this in media lately, and it made me really insecure because now I'm back to like I feel like the gay boy that was I've become the gay boy. The gay boy has developed into a man that is who he should be after all these years.
Oh,
So this is the biggest pride episode. I'm
yes.
proud of myself. I'm
Yeah.
well and beyond my sexuality. I'm not I got to be honest with you. I can't be proud about my sexuality because
It's a weird thing to
my
say.
sexuality is just an aspect of
It's not
my physical condition of me
yeah.
existing here.
It's not who you are on, like,
No,
that real authentic
it's a
soul
very
level.
small part of who I
It
am. Well, not
is.
really small, if you know what I mean.
But, well, hi.
I had to do something really funny. It was too serious. But yeah, so so for me, I'm more proud when our community does something to help each other and things like
Yes.
that. And so, yeah, you just want to identify as this. That's okay. It doesn't mean you have to hate on everybody else. Just like have respect for everybody else.
Exactly.
Why do we have to start segregating everything? I mean, why can't we just be cooperative and learn how to exist? And I don't mean just the gay community here.
No. No, no.
So this is my belief overall. I've always been kind of like a human advocate, you know,
Yeah,
above anything else.
for sure.
And as far as what I'm proud about, I'm proud of myself. I'm proud that I was able to get the fuck over myself after what happened to me. That's what I'm really proud of. And it's really great, you know, that I celebrate that and move forward. That's what's really, really important, that I'm not stuck in that place anymore.
Yes. That is such a huge thing that we should all celebrate
And so many
to
gay
be able
men and so many
Yeah.
gay people and so many queer people and so many trans people and so
Yeah.
many gender diverse people. And fuck me, I hope I'm not forgetting anybody
I
because,
know.
you know, some of them are very vigilant. And I mean that, like some of them they just want to attack instead of attacking. Just like, you know, I don't assume that everybody's going to know something about me when they first meet me. What I
Exactly.
do is I give them my name and then hopefully develop some type of social relationship so we can comprehend each other.
Connection.
The
That's
problem
really
with
what community is
yeah,
about, is
we
connecting.
need to learn how to communicate again. We're not doing it very well right now because of the confines of social media and the constructs of social media, how it is, how it gives us the illusion of connection without having it.
Exactly. Oh,
So there's the,
I just got
oh, I know,
goosebumps. That was a powerful line.
I'm in download mode. Okay. So, and you know this from the past few
Yeah.
days and things that I've
Yeah.
been saying and things that I've been doing. So I've been getting these really powerful, like, guidance. And it's like, you know, everybody just shut up and get along for a few minutes, will you? The world's in fucking peril. We're going to be flooded and swept away. And we got fucking aliens hanging in the goddamn
Right.
sky. I mean, we just had an ultimate fighting championship on the lawn of the
Oh my
White
g
House, for Christ's sake. And he's the things that's happening in the US and all this stuff. I mean, if we don't start to band together and stop biting at each other's fucking heels about minuscule issues and just don't get on over it and stop worrying about who's sleeping with who and who's wearing what
right?
kind of underwear and what color you identify with or who you identify with or what you are, it doesn't matter. We're going to be absolutely fucked, people. And that's what I really think. I think that if we don't stop and start to be cooperative with each other, no matter what, and have respect for one another, we're
Yeah.
done. We're fucking done.
Well, this is what they want. They want us to
Yes.
be as divided as
Yes.
possible
There's gay people
because
on there's bots online saying that they're gay and they're doing the LGB thing, and then they want to be separated from everybody else and they don't want to
are
be
you
included. And yeah, there's a lot of that. Yeah. There's a lot of bots and a lot of I'm seeing trigger posts. They know what triggers me.
yeah, it's rage bait.
Blue Sky is really bad for that. Soon as I responded to one thing, it started to put hundreds
Uh,
of things in my feed that would
it's the
trigger a response.
algorithms.
Yeah.
The algorithms want to keep us as divided and as angry with each other as humanly possible.
Yeah. So I'm like of the mind that in the community, it doesn't matter to me, any of it. And if you're part of the community, you're part of it. And that's the bottom line. And we all have to stand together, because if we start splitting, we're going to be like Alberta trying to get away from Canada.
Oh God.
There's so much divisiveness right now, and
There really
it's
is.
almost to the point of intolerance. So how I celebrate Pride is I make my posts and I make my music, and then I go out in the world, and no matter what happens, I'm constantly honest and I'm never hiding anything. I've got nothing to hide. And that's how I celebrate Pride. And I think that's how we grow as a community, is by doing things and enriching, no matter what you're doing, enriching other
Yes.
people's lives and helping other people. That's how I see our community. And
And I
instead
think
of
it's so important.
biting at each other's heels about who doesn't agree with this person and what they want to be and all, that's so ridiculous.
Right. Like, even inside of EDS groups, I see so much bickering, especially around this topic. And it's
Yeah.
like,
Oh, the leather community
nobody.
is another community. So the leather community, so there's this thing called International Mr. Leather.
Okay.
And this year, a drag queen from RuPaul's Drag Race is a leather guy in his real life.
Oh.
Yeah. And
And so, like, explain it a little bit more to me in terms of, like, for
oh,
people out there kind of like me that want to learn
mm-hmm,
more about your communities.
mm-hmm.
Because I had never really heard of this before.
The
You
leather
told
thing.
me. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So
Is it like
leather.
a BDSM thing, or am I totally
Oh,
off track?
there's so many things. It's like, oh my God, this is like a whole episode, maybe
Uh,
4. Okay. So
okay, so
the
there's
leather community was born into these really vigilant veterans that came back from World War II,
okay,
and they were gay and they were like motorcycle guys. And then there was chaps, and then there was denim, there was
okay.
there was leather jackets, and there was everything that represented masculinity.
So, like, these really manly men.
Yeah, like Tom of Finland. I would recommend you just go research Tom of Finland.
I think I've heard of him before,
Yeah,
but
so
okay.
there are all those
Okay.
really robust images of men with big bums and in
Yeah,
chaps and
okay.
Levi's and things. It's brilliant. And I've
So
always
the
been
issue is
so the
that a drag queen who I am assuming is seen more on the feminine side
I
to
guess so.
then win a leather, like, is that the issue that people are having with this? That
Y-
they don't
y-
like that a drag
Yeah,
queen
yeah,
won this
yeah,
leather, okay.
yeah. So anyway, um, I'm like, so I go look, and I view this stuff from afar. I'm a total leather guy, by the way.
Yeah, yeah.
Have been. That's why I came out. Leather community. It's I always love leather. Love the fashion. Wear leather on stage all the time.
Yeah.
And there's all aspects. Leather is aspects of leather is a personal preference.
Okay.
And so many people it's an umbrella, and there's so many people that do different things in leather and just wear leather for the look or the feel or the smell, or
Yeah.
some people like to have sex in leather. I mean, there's
Okay.
so many things you can do, and it's all good, as long as it's consensual and everybody's of age and no one's getting hurt, then it's their
Yes.
business, right?
Yeah.
So, and I don't, divulge, all the naughty details, but I'm just saying
No.
that we all have different preferences, and that's the way it is, and people need to respect each other. But
But two
yes,
things can be true at the same time.
yes,
So the fact that
exactly.
he's a drag queen and also is in the leather, like, to me, I think that just makes him more
Well,
dynamic and
it's like
interesting as an individual.
it's like saying, "Oh, a woman shouldn't be in the army," or like a woman shouldn't be a construction worker. It's the same dumb shit. It's the same it's the same small mentality. And
It's projection.
it's a small-minded mentality of like power hungry people. And
Uh,
it's really sad. And because this guy's really hot, by the way. So
he is pretty hot.
he's got great outfits. Oh my
Yeah.
God, girl. I'm like, I feel like giving her a call and saying, "Listen, I need some like wardrobe guidance here, girl. And you just won Mr. Leather and you're wearing pretty stuff." So it's Honey Davenport. He's Mr. Palm
Yes.
Springs Leather 2026. And then
And
the
I loved him as a drag queen. Like,
runner up was a guy called Sergeant Alex, and then there was another guy called Denzel Berlin, who
so
was
that's kind of where the military sergeant kind of
yeah.
comes into
Oh,
play
there's
a
a whole
bit.
bunch, men or us gay guys are into big gyms, and we liked our Bionic Mans and we liked our GI Joes and things like that, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
My parents bought me a GI Joe doll, and it was a doll because it was like a Barbie doll. It was a tall
Okay.
doll. It
Yeah,
was
yeah.
a Barbie,
Okay.
and the first thing I did with him was take his clothes off, and I didn't know I was gay. But I remember taking my GI Joe's cams off and then finding like nothing.
No,
And I'm
yeah.
like, "Oh my god, is this what happens to you when you get big?" But, the interesting thing is
That's too
it's like
funny.
you become nothing. You're nothing at all. So I had really interesting idealism because of my GI Joe doll. I just didn't ask any questions, I'm just
Oh,
saying. But,
that's
so my GI Joe, I
hilarious.
loved the hair on my GI Joe doll because he had a
Oh,
brush
it
cut.
had, like, real
He
hair?
had rooted hair, yeah. And he had a buzz cut like a military, and I would sit there and just rub my GI Joe doll's
Did
hair.
you
And if anybody was wondering what I'm doing, they probably figured it out by now. It's like I didn't quite figure it out until like I was later adult. I'm like, "Oh my god, I was like shining on my GI Joe doll because I was gay and I didn't even know it." But it's interesting when you look back on stuff like that.
It
And
is.
how the problem with us, like I'll probably say I'll speak for myself. I'm not again speaking for
Yeah.
anybody else.
No, no,
I
this
think the problem with me getting married and then not coming out till I'm 26 or 27 years old was, you got to remember our generation lived in a world where we couldn't exist. We
yeah.
could only exist in our minds and sneaking around and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So the societal norms were an ever present constant,
Yeah.
right? So it was very difficult. It was easy to be dissociative for me
Yeah.
because of that.
I can understand that for sure.
So it's a really complicated thing, the whole thing. And but when you realize that, that started to shift me. And it's interesting that my father didn't want my mother to buy that easy bake oven for me because he said, "Oh, you're going to turn that boy gay," sort of thing. Little did
The
he know I was
mentality
already
back then.
gay and on my GI Joe doll. It
Exactly,
had nothing to
right?
do with the easy bake oven,
Nothing.
right? I liked my butch GI Joe doll, and I still like masculine men. That's what I'm attracted to.
Yeah.
And if
Yeah.
you're attracted to a feminine man, or if you like this kind of guy with that kind of hair, or you like this person from there or that person, I don't care. Like, I don't give a shit. Go
Right?
find what you
You're
like and have fun, people. You know what I mean?
right? It has
Even
nothing
if
to
there's
do
more
with
than two, it doesn't matter. Just have fun and
right?
be safe and be respectful. And I don't judge anybody. I don't care. It doesn't matter. That's the problem with the world. Everybody's got their nose in everybody
It's
else's business.
see, like, my last relationship, I was with someone significantly younger than me, and the judgment that I found, especially around women, judging. It's different when there's an older man and a younger woman, but
Yeah.
when it's an older woman with, like, a
Oh,
much
yeah.
younger
Oh,
man,
isn't that,
it's like the
yeah. Oh, yeah,
judgment.
that's the same way in the gay community. Although we kind of like revere daddies. We
Okay,
we revere our daddies instead of like shitting on like the mamas like
the
straight
mamas.
people do.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
and I some guys, oh, so there's the daddy thing too. So now you've got your leather homework. You got to go and do
Yes,
the Tom of Finland thing and see that.
yes. Anything
And
else that I should
um
be
so the daddy thing is, I don't know whether
the
somebody needs to, hopefully there's lesbians. Look, the lesbians, we don't talk about them enough, by the way. The
that's
lesbians,
another group
I often
that
thought, did they have mamas? I know they do campfires and Birkenstocks and wool socks and acoustic guitars. And then I think I'm a lesbian. I had an identity crisis for a while. Um, but, uh, but as far as like the lesbians go, I wonder, do they have mamas? Because
it's
the gay guys have
interesting.
dads. So do the lesbians have mamas?
Well, it's interesting that you say that. What's her name? Um, she's from American Horror Story.
Uh,
Oh, what's
the
her
lead
name?
character?
Yeah, she's a big character, and she's a
Yeah.
lesbian, and her partner is
Yep.
significantly older than her. So I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
I don't know enough about it.
Because everybody, like, I'm daddy. So I'm daddy.
Sarah
So I don't
something.
have
Sarah.
imposter syndrome. Yeah, Sarah is her name. That's her first. Yeah,
Yes.
I can't remember her
Oh, I
last
can't
name.
remember. Okay.
But yeah, so there's daddies in the gay community. So there's us. Oh, now daddy can be used as a kind of funny, consensual, off age, by the way,
Okay.
sexual term for like younger guys, like in older gay guys.
Yes.
And
Interesting.
it can also be like then there's sugar daddy, right?
Okay.
Yeah,
Because we have that
there's
in
a
the,
lot.
like,
Yeah.
straight
Yeah. There's
community,
a lot
but
of
you
gay
have that
boys
in
running around with their daddy's credit cards, if you know what I mean. So
Oh, wow,
that
okay.
we're just like the straight people, girl. It's no
Yes,
different.
it's just
So
yes.
anyway, and then there's the dads, the kind of like myself, who like adopt orphan people sometimes and
Okay.
guide them and help them. Like I have a couple of leather boys that younger like than me in their 40s that have just come into the community, and I teach them
I've
what I
gotta take
know,
Yeah.
so, and because I don't think, you were talking about elders, eh? And
Yes.
I don't think there's enough respect for that, because we were left to our own devices. So you got to remember,
Yes.
no structure about sexuality, no structure
At
about how to
all.
have a relationship with another, because it's different, by the way. It's different than a man
I
and a
can
woman.
imagine.
It is. It's
It's
completely different.
even just energetically, I can
Yes.
see it's
And does it
different.
have the same parameters?
Yeah.
Yes. But is it the
Yes.
same? Nope.
No.
It's
Yeah.
not. So we weren't taught how to have relationships with another man, or weren't exposed to that, or seen other people that have really strong relationships with other men. So we've had to devise a lot of this stuff, and comprise, rather, a lot of this
Yeah.
stuff ourselves, and learn ourselves. So our generation, my generation, have a lot to offer, the younger generation in our community. Um, and there's a
Totally.
whole complication with all this stuff, because we use the term daddy a lot. There's daddies, there's sirs, there's leather sirs, and there's all
Oh,
kinds of stuff in our community. But the worst thing is that people then start calling, oh, you're a groomer and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, no, just because somebody uses the term daddy or dad in our community doesn't mean that that person's a groomer, because everything that's happening within the parameters of what that means is consensual and of age.
yeah.
Because a lot of our daddies, in quotes, were absent, and we didn't have great influences
Mm.
from our fathers, other than like a lot of people, rejection. So we have really, really complicated relationships. And then we have to try to have a relationship with a man after we've already had a bad relationship while
Uh,
we've been most influential. So us as gay men, we've had really complicated
that's
issues.
that is complicated because you see that even in, like, under the patriarch, in straight relationships with a lot of men who don't have or didn't have father figures, and how it impacts, like, even a straight relationship.
Yeah.
So I can see how complicated and complex that gets when there's two men. Wow, I hadn't, like, that's not something that I ever thought about, really, to be
It's
honest.
it's difficult.
I
Yeah.
can understand it.
So if I can like coach other people and they call me daddy or dad or something, because a lot of people do. I have random people that call me that.
Well,
And
you have daddy energy, even with
yeah,
me, like,
I
you kinda take me under your wing and
yeah, I'm just
yeah.
like that. That's right. So that just goes to show you
Yeah.
that's a great example, by the way. Very protective and a little bit, sometimes
Yes.
overbearing. I'm like a fucking parent sometimes.
Well,
But
yeah, you
and
have that daddy energy,
yeah, so it's not a sexual
and it's not a
thing.
sexual thing,
Can
no.
it be? Yes, it can.
Yeah.
And that is a complicated thing that many people, that's their own business, and everybody's
Yeah.
got a different version of that stuff. And,
Yeah.
there's that exists in our community. And it's part of who we are. And I'm never ashamed to talk about these things.
Yeah.
Because it's, like I said, it's all of age and it's all consensual, and people
Exactly.
need to learn to mind their own business. So
When it comes to what people are doing in the bedroom, that shouldn't be anyone's business
I
except
had
the consenting adults.
I had somebody ask me a really personal question one time, and I'm like, why are you thinking about this?
What did they ask?
Oh, it was about, it was the butt sex thing. It's always the butt sex, by the way. People like men love lesbians because like lesbians, that's their fantasy, right?
It's a fantasy,
But when it comes,
but the lesbians don't wanna have sex with the man.
that's why there's so much lesbian stuff in movies and stuff like that, but not a lot of gay stuff, because
Yeah.
as soon as you go to the like penis insertion into the rectum, it's like
People
everybody shuts down like it's some weird, taboo thing. I wish somebody would have told me when I was younger. Like, I had a traumatic experience with my mother when I was 15 years old, when I came out to her and she said something terrible to me, and I shut down, and it's the reason why I went and got married and things like that, because she told me that I could never tell my father and stuff like this. It was really
Oh,
complicated. It was a really, really bad time, and it changed the trajectory of my life in a big way, because
yeah.
I then wasted like 9 years of my life being an unhappy married man to a person that there was nothing wrong with, but
Yeah.
it just was not compatible with me.
Yeah.
So anyway, and that was on many levels, just not sexually. So anyway, I have so many mixed emotions about all this stuff, and I
Yeah.
understand where all of our, especially my lineage of gay man, where we've come from, like the 70s and 60s, 70s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 40s,
Yeah.
50s, 60s, 70s. I mean, it was worse years ago.
Yeah.
And I was happy to be born in the 70s and not have to suffer through the 60s and stuff like that gay,
Yeah.
because it was just horrible. So, um, at the same time, it's been really a big honor to be able to sometimes represent the community,
Yeah.
and be able to be a good example of a semi well-rounded individual with
Yeah.
very accepting opinions of everybody. And
Yep.
I kind of listen to reason most of the time, and even when I'm wrong most of the time, I'll eventually realize it. So
You're
I'm
open to
Yeah. So
learning and receiving new information.
that's my pride, right? That's how I
Yeah.
don't really go to Pride. I think the last time I was at Pride, I opened for Carol Pope at Ottawa Pride the last time I was at Pride.
That's awesome.
It was fun. So, and if you want to go watch it, go watch the video for Wherever Love Takes Us. That's where we filmed it. It was right before Carol Pope came on the stage. So,
That's on my
yeah,
list
it was
to
fun. It
go
was
check
fun. It
out.
was a ton of fun. And that was like one of my favorite songs. So anyway, so that's how I celebrate my pride. And hopefully
Yeah.
everybody celebrates pride in their own way. I've got terrible
Yeah.
allergies, by the way, because of the tree pollen.
Oh, I can
Oh my God, it's
yeah.
terrible right now. You can
It's
hear
been
it in
crazy out
hear it
there.
in my
Yeah,
voice.
you really can, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I mean
I think
yeah.
that the whole pride thing, we were wondering what we were going to talk about for an hour, but we
Yeah.
could have talked about so much more. I feel like
We really could have.
I mean, I can only give my perspective from a gay guy. Like, that's how I see the world. I see through the world through the eyes of the person that I was born into. This body, this mind, this sexuality is none of these things I've chosen.
Exactly.
And so now I just have to try to, and I think this is what goes for everybody in the community. I think everybody has to realize this is that we're all looking at each other with different eyes. Don't expect anybody to see you the same way that you see yourself. But it is our responsibility. This is the big pride thing. It is our responsibility to first, before we look at anybody else, to accept us. And then that is to accept each other.
And that's a message, honestly, that anyone should be able to understand and resonate with, because it applies to everybody.
Yes.
And even though I'm not part of the community, I consider myself an ally.
Well, you are part of the community, though. That's my whole ideology, is that everybody that wants to be cooperative is part of community. I
love that.
Me too.
That's a really nice note to
end on.
To end on.
Yeah. So me and Cristie didn't want to get overly complicated about anything. No. We just wanted to make sure that we're sending out our usual message of, the more freaks and weirdos and strange you are and the crazier you are, the more we love you, because guess what? That's the way girl and I are, right, Missy?
Totally.
Cray girl.
And if you're still with us after the alien episode, you're our people.
We just got started. We need to do another one. We need to do an alien live stream. That's what we're going to do. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So this has been a great episode, and we just wanted to wish, I know from me and Cristie, we just want to wish everybody. And
thanks for being here with us today.
Really, really happy Pride.
If this episode resonated, share it with someone who might need it.
And remember,
life bends us all.
See you next time.
Bends us all. And don't forget to comment.
Bye, Miss Cristie. Happy Pride.
Bye, Drake. Happy Pride.
Catch you on the flip side, girl.
Yes.